You'd think it ended when the university revoked his tenure, when the grant audits came through, when his textbook deal was quietly shelved, when students stopped quoting his lectures and started whispering about the scandal in the hallway. That should have been the end. But Emily, the student he cheated with, wasn't done. She didn't just vanish into the shame of it. She resurfaced with rage and a mission. And her target wasn't him. It was me. If you believe in quiet revenge, strategic comebacks, and never letting a liar win, like, subscribe, and share this video. And if you've ever been blamed for someone else's fire, drop a comment with "still standing." She called me a manipulator, accused me of setting him up, told university review boards I had planted evidence and poisoned the relationship. She even claimed I used her to destroy his career because I was jealous of their connection. She was 22. I was the woman who put him through 2 decades of conference tours, publishing deadlines, and PR spin. She thought she knew him. I knew everything, especially the parts no one else did. She took her claims to faculty channels, then to Twitter, then to journalists. One even emailed me for comment. I didn't respond. Not yet. I was still collecting. Because you see, this wasn't the beginning. It was the aftermath. If this is your first time hearing the story, go back and watch part 1. My husband cheated with his student, so I took his tenure, his title, and his freedom. That's where the real betrayal began, and where I started rewriting the ending.
But now
it was time to edit the sequel. Emily had hashtags. I had hard drives. She framed her tweets like diary entries, half-truths masquerading as pain, laced with phrases like emotional manipulation and academic grooming, but aimed squarely at me. It worked for a moment. A few adjuncts shared her post. A blog picked it up. Then the whispers turned again. She was the wife. She probably knew. Did she plant the plagiarism files? I heard she used to review his students' work. They said these things like they were gossip. But if they'd known what I really had, they would have called it evidence. Because every file she claimed I fabricated was real, time-stamped, backed up, cross-referenced, and verified by the university's own audit department. What she didn't know was that he had kept digital notes, and I had access to all of them. She said she'd been coached by him to push certain data in her thesis. She forgot that he'd recorded their meetings. For academic accountability, he used to say. She claimed I twisted her words in emails. She didn't realize I never needed to. Her writing was incriminating all on its own. Flirtations, grade requests, references to late-night mentoring sessions. When the Title IX investigation reopened, because of her complaint, I submitted everything. A timeline, a flash drive, printed documents, and the kicker, a transcript where she referred to another student as the backup if this doesn't work. They interviewed me. I answered every question calmly. They reviewed her story. Holes, inconsistencies, contradictions. In the end, I didn't destroy her. She buried herself in her own lies. I just made sure someone was listening. The article dropped on a Tuesday morning. Front page of the campus digital paper. Bold headline. Even bolder subheading. Former professor accused of misconduct by multiple sources, including student partner link. They didn't mention my name. They didn't have to. Anyone who followed the first wave of the scandal already knew who I was. Now they knew what I'd done and what I hadn't. Within hours, my inbox flooded. Not with outrage, with relief. Students I'd never met emailed thank you notes. Former colleagues sent quiet messages. We always wondered. You were braver than we gave you credit for. Even a faculty member who once defended him wrote, I owe you an apology. And Emily? She went dark. Social media vanished. Her posts deleted. Her truth threads scrubbed. What hadn't been deleted was cached, and archived by internet watchdogs who started piecing together every contradiction she'd posted over the last 6 months. I didn't speak publicly. Not once. I let the record speak. Because this wasn't about personal vindication anymore. It was about letting the truth breathe without me needing to fan it. Meanwhile, the university launched a full internal audit. They found 3 other students with eerily similar stories. Vague threats, grade manipulation, mentorship with strings attached. What they didn't find were any records implicating me, because none existed. And while he lawyered up and Emily ghosted the department, I stayed exactly where I was. On campus. At my desk. Still working. Still standing. Sometimes the most powerful thing you can do is nothing. Let them talk while you finish what you started. If this chapter gave you chills, comment still standing, still silent. Like and share this video so others know. The ones who don't yell often hold the sharpest truth. 3 months passed. The investigation wrapped. The report, sealed from the public, landed on my desk anonymously, thanks to a tenured friend in the audit office. It was worse than anyone had guessed. Emily's accusations had triggered a chain reaction. Her lie exposed his pattern. Her story, meant to shield herself, lit a fuse that blew open everything. Turns out he'd mentored 6 students over 10 years. All female. All undergrad. All vulnerable. The common thread? Promises. Publication credits. Conference invites. Extra credit. Only 2 ever came forward publicly. But the documentation did the rest. The university fired him retroactively. Not a resignation. Not a quiet departure. A formal termination. Tenure stripped. Pension frozen. Public statement posted. And then came the letters from the publisher, the foundation, and the conference boards. Each one announcing retractions, removals, blacklisting. He tried to sue. Claimed defamation. Malicious interference. Harassment. But my documentation wasn't just legal. It was bulletproof. And as for Emily, she tried to apply. If you're still watching and believe silence isn't weakness, it's strategy, drop a comment with "still documented." Share this video to show what quiet power really looks like. I kept walking the same halls, holding the same lectures, sipping the same coffee from the same cracked faculty mug I'd used for a decade. But people looked at me differently now. Not with pity, not with doubt, with something else. Respect, not because I exposed them, but because I didn't lie. And in this world, that's rare enough to make people listen. The dean offered me a promotion I declined. Said I wasn't interested in titles anymore. They're too easy to lose. Instead, I started a mentorship program, quietly funded by a former student who'd once almost quit because of him. She called it a full-circle donation. I called it peace. And as for revenge, I never used the word. But I did keep the original transcript of Emily's office confession, the one she claimed never existed. Not for blackmail. Not for proof. Just for memory. So I never forget how dangerous people become when they think they're owed your silence. In the end, I didn't ruin them. I didn't take their futures. I just refused to protect the ones who burned mine. If this ending gave you closure, power, or even just a moment of breath, like this video, subscribe for more true stories of justice, and share it with someone who's ever been blamed for doing the right thing. Comment "still standing" if you made it to the end, because that's exactly what you did.